Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, I am going to be bringing you a ton of damage. I have constructed a Discipline Priest build that is allowing me to almost compete with Arms Warrior DPS output. In this specific video, I'll be playing with an Enhancement Shaman and an Arms Warrior. I had a lot of fun playing this build in this composition. The Enhancement and the Warrior give me enough support and healing to be able to maintain this massive amount of damage output. So this strategy focuses on Inner Light and Shadow, Blaze of Light, and that is the main combination of honor talents that you're going to want to run. I think I ended up switching them around here. I wanted Dome of Light for a big emergency cooldown against this Rep Paladin, and these melee cleaves can do a nasty amount of damage, so I just wanted to return the favor a little bit today. I was looking at this, like, hey, 15% more damage on Smite and Penance. I'm just going to get out as many Smites and Penance as I possibly can, and then running Castigation to get an extra tick of that Penance to get a bonus onto that 15% damage to just completely max out my pressure. And I was able to pump out an insane amount of damage with this build that you see if you want to go back and pause it to copy for yourself. And it was just a lot of fun to play. Like I've said in previous videos, Discipline Priest I think is one of the most fun specializations, if not the most fun specialization that you could pick up at the moment while being versatile and flexible. You can run a lot of compositions, you have a lot of options because you're a healer, and you still get to contribute damage to the team. And I like that you get to play aggressive. You get to kind of be a shot caller, you get to push in, you get to be a playmaker. And it's a lot of fun. Like you really need to give this build a go, and I'm just going to be running you through what I was doing in this specific match to be able to maximize my damage, to be able to compete with some of the numbers being output here. I mean, Rep Paladin Warrior, this is like one of the scariest compositions in the game, if not the scariest composition in terms of damage output. And I was still able to kind of put up a fight against them. So the main point of this strategy is to try and stay far away from the enemy attackers, because if they start getting on top of you, it can be difficult to get your min-maxed amount of damage. So I start positioning really far away up towards the top side of the ramp, focusing on keeping my Purge the Wicked. You can see I already have 3 of them up. I penanced 1 to cleave it to a different target. And as soon as I'm far away and have atonements on the targets taking damage, I'm just going to spam out damage. Mind Games on cooldown, Penance off cooldown, Smite off cooldown, get my Purge the Wicked back up, use my Penance to spread that Purge the Wicked, keep my Atonement. You can see here with the Power Word Shields. As soon as my Atonement is back up, we're going to use Rapture to heal through the Warrior's first round of aggressive cooldowns here with the Bladestorm rolling. That gives us big shields to allow us to just get out and start pumping out some massive damage. You want to be using Power Word Solace as well as much as possible here. That's going to be how you maintain your mana. And if you're playing with hybrids like Feral Druid, like the Feral Druid Warrior comp that I just talked about in my previous video, insane. This build would be insane with that. You're going to be able to do a ton of damage. Here I use Pain Suppression on the double stun. That's when the Ret Warrior is going to be the scariest, is when they've locked 2 targets down in a Stormbolt and Hodge, so use the defensive cooldown at that time. The next scariest moment is going to be when they activate cooldowns. We can see that with the Avenging Wrath here. So we're focusing on keeping Atonement up. We're going to use our Power Infusion to pump out even more damage and healing through this Atonement. So Penance off cooldown with Power Infusion. Pew, 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 pew. We're watching this in slow motion, but I'm still kind of keeping up with the pack here. I'm out damaging the Earth Elemental. That's pretty impressive considering this Dwayne does a ton of damage. And you can see that I'm just posted up as far away from the fight as possible and just shoving out as many Smites as I possibly can, as many Powered Solaces as I can, as many Penances as I can, while keeping Atonement on my Shaman and my Warrior, who are the ones taking the brunt of the damage. And I'm able to just kind of keep them back with this amount of pressure. And then I'm just going to keep lining it up and just mashing Smite. I mean, it's not overly complex at this point. So if you are looking to try this build, just keep the Atonement on the targets taking damage. Here's the double stun. So this is a scary moment in the game. You want to be telling your teammates to use Intervene at this time. Think about using cooldowns at this time. Whenever you see that Hammer of Justice here and then a stun on the healer, that is going to be a very scary moment. You want to get ready for it. Here we're going to use our Mind Games, again, basically on cooldown. You may want to look to time this against other compositions a little bit more, but I was just trying to max my damage this game to see what would happen. Like, what really happens if I just shove out as much damage as is humanly possible in the matchup? Can I just completely overwhelm them? Is there a way to kind of exceed the barriers and the sound barrier here and just do so much damage that it's just completely unhealable? And in this round, I think we were actually able to. We were just always having this Rep Paladin at half health, and we were just able to contribute so much overall pressure to the engagement. I think we'll see that in the scoreboard at the end. Here we got to dispel our warrior out of a root so we can get uptime. It's just all about uptime. These Discipline Priest melee cleaves, if you want to run these damage builds, you're going to be having a ton of fun with it. You're going to be doing a lot of damage. They feel super fun and viable at the moment. Here's that double stun. So our shaman is going to use trinket and wall. Then they swap to our warrior. Our warrior is going to use die by the sword. Again, that's the scariest moment in the game. Get our atonements back up. Get ready to get in position. Get our purge the wickets. Get our smites rolling. Get our penances going. Because now that we have our defenses active, even though our teammates are low, we're going to use the atonement and let the shaman healing pick us back up. And that just nets us divine shield. We didn't do anything to the shaman. We're just pumping damage. We are just maxing out damage, just shoving it at them, doing as much as possible in this specific engagement. We sharpen blade the ret on low health. We're just penancing into the ret. The shaman's freaking out, drops link 2 seconds after having to bubble. Like, they are absolutely scared out of their pants at this point. Like, and it's not very often you get to scare a ret warrior. It's usually them that are the ones being the intimidators, right? So this was a lot of fun to just pump out. My priest isn't even fully geared at this point. I've been jumping on it over like the past 2 weeks to try and get it back up to speed because I've actually been enjoying it so much. So I'm really interested to see what happens when I do actually get it up to full power. You can see here we got Spear Bastion down, so we're just staying away from the ret, staying away from the warrior, just mashing out as many smites as we can, keeping our purge of the wickets up. I think we end up swapping to the shaman. We're trying to range the Hammer of Justice here from the ret. We just want to avoid as much crowd control as possible and avoid being a target. We hex the ret, got penance rolling here onto the ret, and we get the warrior cleaved at low health. They're running out of cooldowns. We go for a sharpened blade. I push in for a fear at this point because they feel like they're kind of like on the ropes. They basically have nothing left. So I go in for a fear. We have Dome of Light if we need a fallback to go for this fear. There's the double stun lock, so we have no dispel. So we're just going to penance really big into that. And your penance does a huge amount of healing with the castigation build. We're going to use Rapture Powered Shields to get our teammates really healthy here. It's mostly just so we can continue to pump out damage. We're going to pull the enemies out of their earthen wall totem. That little green totem on the ground there is protecting them a lot. So we're going to reposition away, bait them out of its defense, and then we're going to just go back to pumping as many numbers as we possibly can. We're still sitting with our trinket and barrier as the next line of defense for that double stun lock combo, especially if it has Avenging Wrath. And we're just going to keep shoving out as many smites, as many powered solaces, and as many penances as possible. We have power infusion. We can really shove a lot of damage during this power infusion. So we're just going to dump it on cooldown. We've got mind games available. As soon as that thing, bad boy, comes up, we're pressing that. We're just going to be shoving as much damage as we can. Chain Harvest goes out. Ret's freaking out. Shaman doesn't have time to dispel. He's trying to heal the ret, and oh, okay, it's over. They can't recover. So if you haven't tried these melee cleaves with a hybrid, so like a ret, a feral, and enhance, plus like a warrior, you are going to have a really good time, I think, with these compositions, especially as a discipline priest. These would be like my top 3 comps at the moment if you weren't going to run RMP. If you're just looking for like big pumper comps for disc and you just want to focus on shoving out as much pressure as you possibly can. And you can kind of see it on the scoreboard. I was at almost 300,000 damage. Warrior was 400,000. I was like right on his heels in terms of damage output, still able to put a lot of healing. And like I said, I just came back to the game, not even fully geared. Like, look at this. This is like, I pushed to 1600 while playing at 2700 MMR, trying to get my priest back up to speed because I really missed it. When the 9.1 came out, or 9.1.5 came out, it felt like, okay, I can't play my alts anymore. But now 9.1.5 has come out, and you can get onto the alts. You can mail the conduits over, get some conquest boxes over to your alt, and then just bump it up and just get into the action, get going. And if you want to try gearing up, you want to try climbing some rating, I am streaming every day at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/Supatease. I'm probably going to be running a little bit more RBGs as well as 2v2. So if you want to jump in there and get some games and get some gearing up and have some fun, then that's going to be the place to be. And if you also want to stay up to date with all of the patch changes coming in for World of Warcraft, so you're always in the know and the now, and you're always making the best decision you can to enhance your experience with World of Warcraft, make sure you hit the subscribe button here. It's just going to let you know when my videos go live so that you know all of the patch information as soon as it comes out, and you'll be ahead of the curve in terms of the meta. Aside from that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.